certified. For more information, visit QveraGlobal.com. Kuvera, an InvestView company.
Hey, welcome back. We are just breezing through hour 2 of a Merry Money Monday show on Liquid Lunch on Newsmax TV. I'm John Tobacco. I'm in my Santa suit, and I also have my dreidel right here. It is the first day of Hanukkah, so happy Hanukkah to all of our Jewish friends and observers of the Jewish faith. And I'm joined here with my co-host, Frank Morano. Hey, Frankie.
Hello, John.
So now, when we're going into year end, I make some crazy predictions every so often, and I give you some trends in the market and cryptocurrency. But one of the foremost trend forecasters.
I'm down $600 on your trends. So
one of the foremost trend forecasters in the world, Gerald Celente, joins us, and he's also the publisher of Trends Journal and the founder of the Trends Research Institute. There he is. Hello, Mr. Celente. Thank you for joining us, sir.
Thanks for having me, and happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, and Happy New Year.
So from what I understand, you're going to give us some predictions for 2020. Will the Democrats leave the president alone in 2020?
No, they have nothing else to do. And again, I'm a political atheist. I don't take sides on this stuff. This impeachment thing is the biggest waste of time that's robbing the people, not only of our money for the clowns to put on this freak show, but also it's going to help Trump as well. And that's, they don't know who they're fighting against. You know, this guy's a New Yorker that'll do anything to win, and he's fighting a bunch of amateurs. So we're forecasting Trump 2020 by default. And it's the default is the default of the Democratic Party, that they haven't put up anybody there that's good enough to run against him. So it looks like he's going to win hands down.
How come you weren't predicting that the phone was going to ring right in the middle of the interview?
I know.
So we're with you here. That I see every day they continue this impeachment thing. It's Trump in a landslide. What else do you see? I think the market's going to have a super rally right here at the end of the year going into January. What do you think about the markets here?
Well, the markets are totally rigged. I mean, look at the Federal Reserve. Go back to September 17th when the repo markets, who ever heard of a repo market? No, most people never heard of this stuff. They dumped in $2.9 trillion between December 16th and January 18th. Go back before that and look how weak the markets were in August. So it's all this cheap money. People got to get it in their heads. These are gamblers. They're money junkies, Wall Street. This has nothing to do with PE ratios. It has to do with how can I make a lot of money borrowing money cheap and gambling. So as long as the cheap money flow keeps going, the markets will keep going up. So going back to Trump, people, if they don't think the president has power over the Federal Reserve, they better grow up or do a little bit of reading. Richard Nixon brought in Burns while inflation is going up, and he says to Burns before the election, listen, I want you to lower interest rates, and he did. Paul Volcker just passed away, wanted to get his book out before he died. He's brought into the Oval Office by James Baker, the chief of staff under Reagan. They go into the library. Reagan doesn't say a thing, and he says, this is according to Volcker, Baker says to Volcker, you have orders from the president not to raise rates. So what we're saying is, going back to the markets, by this time next year, I'm forecasting we're going to be into zero to negative interest rate policy.
So you think we're headed back to stated quantitative easing?
Well, they're doing it already. They're doing it already. But we're not going to call it quantitative easing because we're full of baloney, because we're going to make up another word. That's about what Powell is saying. They're buying treasuries. They're going deeper in debt. So they're just, and by the way, it's going on around the globe. Oh, last week, Mexico lowered interest rates. Oh, Russia just lowered interest rates. They're all lowering interest rates to keep the thing going. So the cheap money flow is going to keep the markets up. Has nothing to do with the fundamentals of the economy.
Gerald, you're also predicting something called Off With Their Heads 2.0. What is that?
Let's take a look around the world. Go to France, go to Hong Kong, take a trip to Algeria. What about Lebanon? Been down to Chile? How about Colombia, Bolivia, Peru? How about Sudan? How about Ghana? How about Afghanistan, Iraq, Iran, Libya, Yemen? The world is exploding. It's on fire. When you look at most of these movements, Two big things, another trend that ties into it. No one's leading the charge. They're all independent. And what's the major issue? The cats at the top got all the dough and we got nothing. That's what off with their heads went.
Well, so do you see something coming about like a second Arab Spring, only beyond the Arab countries?
Oh, yeah, it's happening already. Again, Chile, I mean, the people are taking to the streets. When people lose everything and have nothing left to lose, they lose it. Look at what's going on. Oh, I forgot about Kashmir and India for different reasons, but not really. Because when you look at India, and there's this thing, they just passed a citizen law which discriminates against the Muslims, according to them, the Muslims. Look at India's GDP. This thing is slumping down big time. It's like the sixth quarter in a row. It's way down. It was at 8% last year. Now you're talking about 4.5. You got over 100,000 people that have just been laid off in the auto industry.
Now,
so to get people's minds off these things, all these flare-ups are going on. So the people are going to take it out on the rich. Again, off with their heads, 2.0. You're going to see a lot more security, the rich looking for the safe havens, safe shelters, and on and on.
Now, you've also predicted a rapid decline in real estate prices. What do you attribute that to?
Oh, not rapid yet. It's peaked, and it's going to go down from here. Not in the United States yet, because they're going to lower interest rates. But take a trip around the world. All the major markets are going down. And the real estate, they boomed up too quick, not keeping pace with wages. Again, going back to what are all these revolts about? The people aren't making enough dough to buy the houses to live, and that's what they're going after against. And then you go to big cities like New York, the market's dead. The market's flattened out, both commercial and co-ops, high-end luxury. Look at all the for rent signs when you go through New York. So the thing is peaked. That doesn't mean it's going to crash yet. I don't see the crash happening until 2021.
Got it. Frank and I have been looking at some properties over in Italy where, to your point, they're actually selling homes for $1, and you got to spend about 15 to 20 grand in improvements in those homes over 3 years, but they can't give the houses away literally over in Italy.
Yeah. Again, look what's going on over there. Look at the unemployment rate among the youth. And again, take a trip. Look what's going on in France. All America's dumbed down with the impeachment garbage. They don't have a clue what's going on. They closed down that place almost 2 weeks. The people taking to the streets.
Gerald, I do have to ask you before we run out of time to talk a little bit about Elegance 2020. This is the rare glimpse of optimism that we're seeing in the 2020 trends forecast. What is Elegance, and how does that play into the trends that you foresee next year?
People ask me what to do, things are going down. I say get in the best shape you can, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Go back to the Great Depression. Look at I have a photo of my parents' wedding. May they rest in peace. Immigrants, Italian immigrants, right? 1934, dressed like you can't believe. They were laborers. They worked in factories, at vegetable stores, fish stores. People are stepping it up. The people that want to get higher step it up. And you could go Elegance now very cheaply. You could buy it used online, the best of the best for not a lot of money. So the people are going to raise themselves to highest so they don't go down lower. And the hottest, happiest music America ever knew. Swing time, Great Depression. So as things go down, the smart entrepreneurs, of course the major media doesn't have a clue, are going to tie into those trends and make a lot of money doing it and bringing a lot of people up doing it as well.
Fantastic. We got one elegant fellow joining us today, one of the finest commentators out there. Thank you so much, Gerald Celente, for joining us. You at home, take a good, hard listen to what Mr. Celente has to say, because he's been right a heck of a lot more than he's been wrong. Thank you so much, Gerald Celente, for joining us today on Liquid Lunch. Frankie, last time he was on, he was devastating. And today, I like the ending where he said, go with elegance.
Yeah.
I mean, I was thinking that this morning.
Yeah, he's also predicting the roaring 2020s, where it's party time for the stressed out masses who want to leave the past behind. And so that's pretty good news.
So we're going to start roaring?
I'm ready to roar.
It's about time we got out of the teens. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody knew even what to call these years, these I heard somebody call them the aughts.
No, those were the 2000
Those
to
are-
2010.
These are the teens.
Yeah.
We got out of the aughts, now we're in the teens. So now, folks, if you're alive in this day and age, we're moving into our 20s, and you know what the 20s means. Party time. We're going to party some more right after this.